try to get the 6-year-old, get some tracing paper. Take your existing illustrations, lay tracing paper over the existing illustrations, and have them trace those things. The tracing might be just different enough because of the child's shaky hand to where you might end up with something good.
That's a good
idea. And it's definitely not AI after that.
That's true. That's a great idea. And I can put that on a scribble board or something like that, but still get my story out and get the message.
And it's a child's book, so I mean, a child hand drawing it for a child's book, it kind of works together, I think, anyway.
Let their imaginations run wild, absolutely.
Sorry, Xandean, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, no, not at all. No, man. I was just going to say that, within the next 12 months, I mean, it's getting so crazy with AI that since we're talking about it, I was just going to say that for you, you don't even have to be able to code. You can talk to a number of agents and tell them you could, I won't say the full name, but Ghost Edit. You can go and put your PDF. You could say, hey, maybe I'll do a YouTube page or a media page. What's a successful author that's got his books and has a good page? You can look at the best page or some of the best pages with illustrations, how you might like it, that aren't AI, that have gone through the same process you have and have came up with a solution. You can literally take those sites that have a high volume, paste that into an AI site, and it'll go ahead and study everything about that and print back for you and say, hey, you can put your PDF in, and it can say, hey, do you like this arrangement with your original paintings or pictures? It can do a lot of variations that are pretty interesting and generate some content. Then what it'll do is, once you say yes, it can go ahead and print or post or any medium you want to with it. But you have a lot of options. There's like at least 200 tools. Like you use 2 or 3 together, and they'll do everything you want.
I think I'm just I have a little bit of fear that someone will come in behind me. I'm putting myself out there to the whole wide world.
Right.
That someone would come in behind me and say, no, those are my stories. Or
I know the feeling.
Yeah. So right now, I mean, that's a great idea. Thank you so much for that. But, I mean, that's really something I can look into. Maybe for the next book. For sure.
Hey, Chris.
It's different. Like for me, I'm sorry. Go ahead,
No. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say, I totally understand because I'm an artist myself, and I've made a few things where I felt like they asked me that I want to put it on GitHub, and that means it's open source. Somebody can come improve it or do whatever. And I never wanted to do that because I'm just using it for myself. But there are tools right now with your mouth. You can say, hey, can you make me this tool to help me? It doesn't even have to be a story. It could be something that helps you with your writing or get something faster or get it to people. Things that, would have cost you money are literally free. And what I mean by that is stuff I've been paying for as an artist for years. I just find a way to get it free now as far as if it's some kind of task, printing, writing, creating, or whatever. But I understand what you're saying about the stories because that's different. You're putting your intellectual property out there. But there are scaled back ways that you can, help your workflow, make it easier for you, especially since you're, a good mom.
Well, right now, what I'm thinking of, just off what you told me, is I could use AI to my advantage to write my introductory letter to the libraries and to the schools, to the school districts, to get my foot in the door to those 2nd and 3rd graders who need my books. You know what I mean?
That's a great idea. Claude can do that. Claude is really good at that.
Okay. Which one is Claude?
CLAUDE.
Enjoy 24-hour access at most Planet Fitness stores. $1 down, $15 a month. Deal ends February 27th.
I went to the field.
When buying a coffee, you want to pay right away.
And did a report.
But buying tickets to Paris,
I actually took
that's when you
notes and
probably
everything,
pay later.
But I went to
With the
to Claude and I said, hey, I went to this place. This is what I saw. I saw great gardens. They had architects, and it was from this year. I said, I want an intro, a middle part, and a close. And I want to include these details. So I want a synopsis of what I did. It took like less than like 5 minutes. He gave me something, and then I just put like I already put my way of writing. And I asked if everybody would accept it. They were like, hey, we'll accept that. But in actuality, it was more my writing than it was theirs. It just did like, put the facts in there for me and arrange things. But it really helped.
I understand what you're saying exactly. You want the formatting in, you want everything in its place, and that's where I'm getting. I'm getting offers from marketing firms that say we want to represent you at a cost.
Wow. Nice.
Yeah, but at a cost,
Okay. But sometimes it. I've seen people pay a little like my brother paid a little bit on YouTube for promotion, and he already had some momentum like you do, and that it was just a little bit, and it gave him a lot more subscribers, and those subscribers turned out to be more than what he paid for, the cost of it. But I don't know if that's your situation.
Well, I'm thinking that YouTube, the way it is now, can benefit me if I put snippets of my book out there instead of keeping them posted on Facebook.
Right.
Right now is a waste of time. Go to YouTube and draw or make snippets of my books and say, okay, don't be ashamed of yourself. Be proud of who you are. And those are examples out of my book.
Very nice.
Hey,
Thank you.
Chris, this question goes to Chris and Phil. You both did children's books. Would you say doing a children's book is harder than just putting a regular book out there?
To me, it depends on your emotions behind it. What is the driving force of your creativity? So I thought it was going to take me a long time to write, but once I started writing, my energy just kept going and going and going until I said, I think I got enough. I think I got enough to put this together.
Wow.
And it worked. I split it up into 5 books and, put in a couple little action and a little sword fights and teasing and whatnot, and it worked out.
Hey, what's the lady's name that wrote Harry Potter?
J.K. Rowling.
Okay, she was actually homeless, and she was sitting in a restaurant and just thinking about different things, and took a napkin and started planning out Harry Potter. And look at where she's at now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I've heard that story. It's been a while, but I did hear that story, and that's amazing.
Yeah.
And Mel Robbins, I think it's another example. Am I right or am I wrong? I don't know.
Oh, you're probably right.
That's good. What you said, what she said, Paul, is really inspirational about, just getting up the energy and just writing and just getting it started. Before you know it, you have some material. Because I think, even myself, a lot of people, if you think about writing a book, either they don't, they feel corny, they don't believe what they say, or they don't feel they can do it, or whatever. But like, she just gave like a kind of like a real life blueprint. Like, hey, just start it, just do it, get some energy, and keep writing. That's pretty good. That's a good inspiration.
And I want to.
Life examples.
Yeah.
Of kids that I know growing up, and so I put them in there and molded them a little bit and put some examples out there.
And Chris, how did you feel when you published your very first book?
Oh man, I felt so damn proud. I did something in my family that I guess no one was able to accomplish, but I do have to point this out. I was inspired by my younger sister Norma, who did her first children's book it's a count to 10 book for little infants, and her little children's book is on Amazon, and she's just coasting as far as with minimal residuals or royalties. I'm sorry. So she's happy for now that she did what she wanted to do. She published her own book, and then I just took it to the next level. I just kept on writing and writing and writing. So that's how I came up with.
When you were a child, like with me, I'm a writer. Okay, I love to write, and I started off when I was 8 years old. My mother goes, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I don't know. I'm just writing." And she picked it up. She goes, "You're writing a diary." And I didn't even know. I was 8 years old, and I kept on doing this. I just loved to write. So, as a young child, did you do the same thing? Did you just like to write?
Well, I loved my English class and my English teacher, and I loved it when we had book report assignments. And because English was not my first language, I admired it very much, and I wanted to take as much as I could soak in. And so I just used my English and my love for the English language because I was still, I was still, what is the word I'm looking for? Help me here. I was citizen.
Learning.
I was a transplant, so to speak. I was in a different country, growing up with different aliens. And so I need to learn their language and how they behave. And so I took that as my challenge to develop and really build on my knowledge of the English tongue. And I started to write.
Wanted to mention Edgar Rice Burroughs, who of course wrote John Carter of Mars series, Tarzan, and other books. He was in his 40s and failed at every business he had been in. He had a family to support, I think 3 daughters. He started writing, he wrote the Princess of Mars earlier, but when he was in a department store, he was writing Tarzan of the Apes on the backs of old letterheads and odd scraps of paper. And, look, he's written dozens of books. I mean, I always loved his, he was a natural storyteller. But here he is in his 40s, and he makes this great life for himself.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Chris, I got to tell you something. We do a little thing here. In about 7 minutes, Zoom is going to shut us down.
Okay.
We're going to take a 10-minute break, and you'll get a second link so you can get back on and finish up the interview.
Oh, that's great. Okay.
Okay.
That is great.
And I just got to tell you a little story, okay? And this is a true story. When I was a little boy, I was singing that Buffalo Springfield song, For What It's Worth. Yeah. And these kids were going, "How come you keep on singing that song?" I said, "I wrote it in my head." And they go, "You didn't write that." They said Buffalo Springfield wrote that. I go, "What?" I didn't even realize I was listening to it on the radio, and then took it all in and thought I wrote it. So
You know what they call that, Paul?
What's it?
Unconscious plagiarism.
Hey, Steve. What do they call this? When I was little, I used to think Muhammad Ali was Joe Frazier, and Joe Frazier was Muhammad Ali.
It's just a mild case of confusion.
Oh my God. And that's a true story, I swear to God.
That's amazing. Yeah, we all have a start. We all have a beginning.
Yeah, and what made me think about it, because you were talking about how some people could say, hey, I stole this, you stole this from me, blah, 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 yeah.
Well, when you talk about writing, we had creative writing in grade school, and they would give us a picture to write a story on, and I hated it at first, and then I realized I could take any picture and turn it into a science fiction story, or whatever, and a lot of the ones I wrote, I was guilty of unconscious plagiarism from the movie I'd seen the Saturday before at the Radio City. So.
That's funny.
That's funny. Oh my God.
But I loved it afterwards. And then I would get Famous Monsters of Filmland, that magazine published by Forrest Ackerman, and of course it had photographs from science fiction movies. So I would cut one of those out and make up my own story, with maybe a little bit of plagiarism.
Oh my God.
Just a little bit.
That's just a kick start, man. It's just a jump start. What about you, Phil?
I would, my first stories I wrote as a kid were dreams. I'd wake up with, same thing with songs. I'd wake up with a song in my head, or with a story in my head. I wrote one when I was like 10 called The Star Player about, a flood in a village that killed a bunch of kids. One was a star player of a basketball team, and the next, at the big game, the kid came, walking back, for his game, but he was a zombie kind of thing. It was a stupid little zombie story, but it was a dream I had, and so I wrote it down as a short story for class. But yeah, that was my earliest writing.
Well,
Wow.
Phil,
And you remember all those years now. You remember that.
I had a typewriter, and to me, I was really excited to get a really cheap little typewriter to play. I just thought the typewriter was the coolest thing in the world, and to actually be able to put it down. And I was a huge Stephen King fan even back then.
Oh,
You know,
wow.
the science fiction author A.E. Van Vogt, he would, a friend of mine knew him and said that he would, before he'd go to sleep, he'd write out something. He would kind of imprint ideas in his mind and then go to sleep. His subconscious would work on it, and that would become part of a story.
Wow.
And I thought, how cool is that? And so a lot of his writings were inspired by dreams that he kind of, again, he planted some ideas, and then they developed into something bigger.
Hey, and I gotta tell Chris something. When we come back after 10 minutes, just by looking at you, I can tell you've had some paranormal experiences. Right? Am I correct about that?
Yeah, you can say that, absolutely.
Okay. Okay. When we come back, I would love to hear some of those stories.
And at some point, I do have another question for Chris in the second segment.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, you got 3 minutes. You want to try a Space Ranger?
Well, I could. What I wondered is, we've all been inspired by different fantasy authors and novels growing up. Were there any inspirations, any authors, any stories that really just sort of took you away and inspired you?
There was a Reader's Digest story that ran way back when. It was about a child called Beth, and what I remember from the story was that someone was paying her parents to keep her like in a foster system. And so she couldn't eat a lot of food. She had to do certain things so that her fosters would get the money. Otherwise, they wouldn't get the money, and she would be in trouble, big time, by the fosters. They would come in and punish her and this and that. And